Hey y'all, welcome back to Movement Link. So I want to talk about a super common issue that we see in the thruster, the push press, the push jerk, split jerk, all of these things that involve a ton of leg and hip drive into a barbell and then pressing overhead. And what happens to a lot of people is I think it's just a mindset thing. If we think of something the wrong way, our subconscious brain takes over in that way, and sometimes it can lead us down a bad path. So what you got to think about is that if I wanted to try and just guess how much you could push press over your head or how much you could jerk or how much you could thruster, I wouldn't ask questions about how much you can press. I'd ask questions about how much you can squat. If I only had to choose, I'd probably ask both questions, I think, pretty obviously, because I'd be a pretty terrible coach if I wasn't asking them. But if I could only ask one thing, I'd ask how much can you front squat. That'd probably be the one thing I would choose. So that should tell you something, that if I'm trying to figure out how much you can move in these positions, I care more about how much you front squat than how much you actually press. Okay, so these are not pressing exercises, obviously they are, so bear with me for a second. These are how can we generate force out of the legs, and in the thruster, yeah, we're forced to squat first, but they're all kind of from these positions right in here, how can we put max force into that barbell, drive it up, and then we finish the exercise off with the press. So a big mistake that we see is the arms get involved too early because the brain is thinking, you gotta press, you gotta press, you gotta press. And we need your brain to think, you gotta drive the bar up as hard as you can, and then you're gonna press. You're never not gonna press. I've never seen anyone come up and go, oh, I forgot to press. But we've seen so many people press too early. So what the too early press really looks like is as I'm driving up, you'll see it a lot in the elbows. And it really just depends what that front rack position looks like for your presses. If you're a bigger person, you might be able to get that bar on your front rack. For me, I need to get the elbows up higher, and most people in our gym, and most people that I coach, we've seen that higher front rack is gonna be important, higher elbow, I should be saying. So anyway, the super common thing is looking for a change of front rack position before you've reached full extension with your hips, which just means really is that point when you can squeeze your butt cheeks together and it brings you up on your toes. If you have a change of front rack position, anytime in between that, it probably means you're pressing too soon. So what we typically see is, people start driving up, and then as they start coming up, you see their elbows drop, and then in slow-mo, we see the bar here, and then bam, the hips go, and the bar's already right here, okay? As opposed to having that bar on you and going here and driving it and going bam, and then that throws the bar, and then you press it. So the big difference here and why it matters so much is that one, the hips and legs are why we're doing these exercises, and we get the benefit of overloading the top of these presses, which is so good, and it's just such a good exercise. But the hip drive is kind of the secret sauce to every sport ever, and really what we're doing is if we're going like this and generating power out of the legs and hips and drive it, okay, if I'm holding the bar and I've already pressed it a few inches, now that power coming out of the legs and hips has to travel up, go through the shoulder joint, go through the elbow, go through the wrist to get into the barbell to help it, okay? And then as it gets there, now your muscles have to hold it there so it can transfer. If that bar is sitting on me, then it's gotta go straight up into the barbell, it goes flying, and then I can press it. Such a huge, huge difference. I don't even know if I can demo one the other way, but we'll see. Press too early. Wait for the press. So not only is wait for the press, quarter extremity, not only is that going to transfer more to real world, but that's going to allow you to overload the top of that press so much more. You're going to be able to move so much more weight faster, better, everything about it, way less wrist pain. So many reasons why this is going to be such a boost to your training. Hope that helps. Talk to you soon.